Hey, to the Virginia Tech community and Hokies everywhere, Senator Tim Kaine here, and I'm thinking about you as we reach the 15th anniversary of one of the worst days in my life, and I know one of the worst days in the life of so many who love Virginia Tech, the tragic deaths by shooting of 32 members of the Hokie community in April of 2007. I was governor at the time. I had departed for a trade mission to Japan and India, had just landed in Japan when I got a call from my chief of staff asking me to turn on the TV to see what was happening back home. And at that point, the circumstances and that tragedy were still underway. Not all the facts were known, but my wife and I went back to the airport in Tokyo and flew home immediately, and then joined the Virginia Tech community for the powerful memorial service that was held on campus just a day or so after the horrific events of that day. It really defined my governorship in a lot of ways, because in those days I met with families who had lost loved ones, students or faculty members or other members of the Virginia Tech community. I visited the injured in hospitals and embarked on an effort as governor, together with others, to determine what had happened and what we could do to reduce the chance that would ever happen again. I remember telling the families who had lost loved ones that I didn't know what they had lost, because I was not a parent or a child or a brother or a sister, but I sort of understood what the world had lost, because I read in the backgrounds and achievements of all those who had been killed that day: grad students, foreign exchange students from halfway around the world, freshmen just embarking on a life of promise in college, award-winning professors, a Holocaust survivor, Professor Livy Rescue. As I read the stories of those who had been killed, I felt like I understood what the world had lost and has still lost by the absence of these really accomplished and talented people. At the time of that shooting, the Virginia Tech shooting was the worst mass shooting in the history of the United States. And here is something that is very odd to say as a former governor of Virginia and senator from Virginia, somebody who loves Virginia Tech. I wish I could still say that shooting 15 years ago was the worst mass shooting in the history of the United States. Why would I want to say that about the Virginia Tech shooting? Because I would hope that we would have learned something and wouldn't have tragedies that have since eclipsed it. And yet we have. We had Sandy Hook and Las Vegas and Pulse nightclub and so many other mass shootings, some of which even claimed more victims than the shooting at Virginia Tech. And I have a continuing set of sort of unhealed wounds and scar tissue of that. I imagine many of you do as well. But what I also remember about that time so vividly now, even 15 years later, is how the community rallied together with pride and a sense of community, with compassion for those who had been lost. And not only for those who had been lost, but an entire community was traumatized. And that trauma has echoed down through the years. And yet the Hokie Nation is close, and they pulled together to support those who have suffered. And that is inspirational. We don't have it in our power as humans to wave a magic wand and avoid tragedies. We do have it in our power as humans to band together during tough times, like now, for example, in the pandemic. We have the ability to band together during tough times and support each other. And Virginia Tech has shown again and again and again that's what kind of community you are. So I'm thinking about you on a tough day. I'm thinking about beautiful young people, beautiful professors whose lives of achievement were unjustly and tragically cut short. But I'm also thinking with admiration of your spirit, which I know is as strong today as it was then, and it will remain so for a very long time. Thanks so much.